If you enjoy our podcast, please like and subscribe and consider becoming a digital subscriber to the Albuquerque Journal to help us bring you more content like this. You can find this episode and all of our podcasts on the Albuquerque Journal website, abqjournal.com, as well as YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. See the show notes for a discount code on a digital subscription. Thank you for supporting the Albuquerque Journal, New Mexico's leading news.
Hello and welcome to another episode of What's Bugging You. I'm your host, Chesley Elkins. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Brian Victor, and we are happy to be here with my second favorite guest host over here. We've only had two, so you can tell. Mr. Mike Swanson.
How kind of you. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. You know, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Well, you've just been so good. You come back, and you're so knowledgeable. And Alan just doesn't want to deal with it anymore. So this is no.
Yeah, I'm fun. I'm happy to be back. This is fun.
No, we're glad to have you. You're very knowledgeable, and you add a lot to it. So,
Preventive pest control, taking care of the pests you see and the ones you don't see. Preventive pest control. It's as simple as that.
What are we talking about today, Mike?
Today, I don't know if you saw this in the news. We're going to start doing neighborhood fogging in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County for mosquitoes, which I think is kind of overdue. I'm kind of excited to see it.
So I grew up in McKinley County like 20, 30 years ago. They were doing a lot of that then. So is this the first time Bernalillo County is going to do that then?
Well, I don't know if we've done it historically here. This is the first time since I've been aware of like the pest control world, you know, for the last 15 years that I'm aware of it happening. So,
okay.
But yeah, with the Aedes aegypti mosquito really becoming prominent here over the last 3 years, I think we kind of have to, because West Nile is being found in Albuquerque too in mosquitoes now this summer. So
I grew up in Corrales, and they regularly did this ditch banks and go up and down the roads and when I was a kid and fog for mosquitoes.
Yeah, so now here up in the Heights in Albuquerque and different neighborhoods, South Valley, they're going to be doing it as well.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a question we get a lot from people calling into us, what we can do to help them with mosquitoes, and we've talked about it on other episodes that actually, you know, that it is something that probably, as far as effectiveness, probably just needs to be done on more of like a neighborhood by neighborhood basis versus a home by home. Correct?
Yeah, and I mean it's something that you really can't mimic on a small scale, right? And that's the whole key is you got to do something that's grand that hits, you know, many houses, because it's, you know, like so many things, climate change, like whatever, you can't, one person's not going to make a difference. But if you have like an effect that's hitting, you know, a lot of households, then you can start to see a reduction in them.
Yeah, these mosquitoes they're coming from, I don't know, a quarter mile away, you know, and so it's not, you know, you just take care of your house, your street. It's not really going to affect anything unless they get a grand, wider scale taking care of it.
And it's kind of scary too, because I don't know if you've seen video or pictures of foggers, but it looks like they're essentially just spraying pesticides into the air, into people's houses, you know, into their, you know, through their ventilation system, into the yards, but I mean the concentration of that is so low.
So generally, what are they spraying? Do you know?
I think it's probably permethrin and a PBO, so like an activator, but it's in such a small quantity. They call it ultra low volume misting, essentially, and it just sprays those super fine droplets into the air, and the mosquitoes actually get in contact with them when they're flying around. And it has a little bit of residual, but it's mostly for like airborne contact.
Yeah, I was going to say, even doing that on a wide scale and covering whole neighborhoods like that, the fact that you're targeting the adults and stuff, you're still going to have like a limited, you know, amount of control from that, and need to redo it pretty frequently to maintain the control.
Yeah, and it's such a low volume that, from my understanding, like non-target bugs like pollinators and other things really are not terribly affected by it, which was my main concern when I start hearing about this. Like, what does that do to things like honeybees, for example?
Absolutely.
And evidently, the impact is relatively low.
Okay, and so with the, you know, just targeting the adults and stuff, you know, we usually educate, you know, our clients about, you know, breeding grounds and, you know, breaking life cycle and larva and stuff like that. So there's still other things that, you know, can be done and stuff. I think you mentioned earlier some scientific breakthroughs in, you know, dealing with the larva.
Yeah, larvicide I think is where it's at. Like, I had a conversation with a researcher at UNM last summer. They were reaching out to different pest control companies, like saying, hey, what are you guys using? What are you finding that's effective? They're trying to come up with new stuff. What's out now, there's essentially three things, right? There's the briquettes. You can go buy them at the hardware store, and they're actually really interesting. It's just bacteria inside of a briquette, and you put it in like a pond or something, and it slowly releases and it kills the larva, and it doesn't hurt fish in there or other insects that you may be worried about. There's insect growth regulators that are briquettes that you put into water, and it makes it so when the larvae begin to pupate, they die. Like they're unable to pupate into adults, and those are pretty interesting. And then there's also surfactants they're using now, like in ponds and that sort of thing. Essentially, it's like
surface tension kind of?
Yeah, it just reduces the surface tension of the water. And the mosquitoes, the larvae, they have to have the surface tension to be able to keep their breathing apparatus above the surface, and it makes it so that doesn't work, and they just drown. And that actually has pretty high efficacy and doesn't hurt fish and amphibians and things like that. So it's really interesting. But yeah, the one you're talking about, I just learned about this, is a sonic blaster. I actually looked it up. They call it a larva sonic blaster, something. I forget what it's called.
It's like the bug assault. You put salt in the.
It's way cooler than that, but I like the bug assault. We should talk about that for a second. But so essentially, imagine like a probe, like a depth charge thing that you put into water, and it releases sonic frequencies that are tuned very specifically to essentially the air sacs inside the larva, and they burst and they explode. So you put this thing in the water, you turn it on, and all the mosquito larvae just pop, 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 and they just explode. And I wish that we had something like that for a lot of different bugs. I tell you that.
I wonder. It's interesting. I wonder how big like the water, the area could treat. It could be a small pond, or it could be even the bigger. One item or one.
Like what's the range on it?
Supersonic blaster 2000, whatever it could. Yeah, how big it could be.
Yeah, or they have some, like, essentially it's a bucket and it's solar powered, and it has attractants in it. So the larva, pregnant females are attracted to this bucket, and they lay their eggs in there, and then it has the blaster going. So as soon as they hatch, they get popped.
Well, it'd be cool if there was one that would be because that makes sense. There's a pond or something at a golf course, or someone has a pond in their house, or their cattle. They drop the tanks for stock tanks for that stuff, but. I don't know how beneficial that'd be for just normal person. They don't have ponds. You still have puddles, and you're not gonna put one in every puddle or every dog dish or whatever, right? And so it'd be cool if there's just one that you just turn it on and it's like a supersonic through the air, and
or like a drone that goes back and forth, like over you set the GPS on it, and it just does like a grid, just blasting the ground with supersonic frequencies.
My wife has one of those little vacuums that
Roomba.
Yeah, Roomba.
Yeah, my parents got one that has it's all voice activated, and you can, I forget what they call it, like, I don't know, some robot slave name, and you say whatever.
Or she calls it Cinderella. That's the name of our
and vacuum. You can say like, Cinderella, go clean the living room. And it's like, okay. And starting cleaning cycle, do the same thing for like a mosquito killing drone. Say, go to the backyard, kill mosquitoes. That would be pretty cool.
Or you could just train bats.
Yes. Bats with lasers.
Yeah. Fly around, get on mosquitoes. I think that's a common misconception though. People think, I have bats, it's going to get rid of mosquitoes. Like, there are countless number of mosquitoes. Your bat's going to probably eat, I don't know, maybe 15.
Well, it's kind of like snakes with mice. Like, there's the age-old problem where you always hear people talk about biological control. Okay, we've got this issue. Say, it's grasshoppers, and we're going to find something that eats grasshoppers, and we're going to release those in the environment. And that's how they got the cane toads in Australia, and toads in Hawaii, and all these horrible things, where they have invasive species that then get out of control because of good intentions.
Why is there chickens all over Hawaii?
I don't know.
There's everywhere there's chickens.
Ask a Hawaiian. I don't know.
Someone release a wild chicken out there.
I don't know.
So some of these things, I mean, obviously, like some of these things are just kind of creative thinking out loud, or what. If you could really stretch that and like move into like the realm of like, I guess, like sci-fi. Have you ever thought about like anything really interesting to to bring into pest control that would?
If you can invent something,
I would. I think mosquitoes are probably, like, because of their human health issue, I think that would be probably a big one. But yeah, something that I think that sound is probably the right way to go, because it's relatively far-reaching in terms of like different frequencies. But yeah, I think something like that that's airborne would be amazing. They've got stuff in pilot programs they use successfully in South America and other areas where they get a whole bunch of male mosquitoes, and then they change their biology so that they're infertile, and then they release those into the wild in such numbers that they greatly outnumber all of the wild fertile males. And so the females mate with so many of them that it just drops the fertility rate down by like 90%. But something like that is pretty interesting. But I'd rather see it better where they use CRISPR or some technology to like edit the DNA of some of these insects and then let them out into the wild, and it just wreaks havoc. You know, a German roach that, you know, if it mates with another German roach, it like creates like, I don't know, some like horrible virus that kills all of them.
Wasn't this what they were trying to do with the COVID vaccine too, basically?
Was it?
I think so. Heard a lot of theories. Something like that.
The New World Order trying to
altering our DNA.
If we had I wish, we've all heard that, you know, that little gimmicky plug-in thing, it keeps the rodents away, makes a noise. I wish that thing worked, man, because rodents are a pain in the butt, and like, and you see like the infomercials on that, and everyone always tells me, "Hey, we got this. It's gonna keep mice away." No, there's mice droppings on top of that thing. You know?
And if they worked, people ask me about that every now and then, and really my standard answer is the truth. Like if those worked, we would have pallets of them.
If that would work,
warehouse.
And plastic owls would work, that'd be awesome.
I would be in the plastic owl business.
If that would keep pigeons away, and the little plug-in sound thing would keep mice away.
That's another thing. Yeah. Nanobots, maybe like tiny little drones, like the size of like a nickel, that just fly around and just can identify pigeons and just zap them.
Well, call Elon Musk. Maybe he'll
that would be awesome.
Figure something out.
I know we've had some discussions about, you know, the possibility of like a robot that could do pest control. Just, you know, work when it gets really hot, just keep going all day long. Driverless car to bring them to stops. I actually saw in the news this morning in China they're having like robots that are playing soccer now and like using AI to like do the game. But
can they spray a barrier on a house?
Yeah, I mean, what's going to take more
colony ants?
Coordination?
Can they fake getting hit? Pull a foul?
Right. Well, it was funny watching it because they're still, you know, obviously learning how to balance and stuff like that, and figuring out the game too. And so a lot of times they'd fall over, and once they fell over, they were basically done. And showed the, you know, guys coming out with the stretchers and putting their robots on their robots on stretchers. And
but with the guys coming out, the medics?
No, it's actually real people coming out with the stretchers and taking the robots off the field on the stretcher. So
I think, I don't know. I feel like there's something about, maybe it will, but AI can't replace passion. And that's the thing with sport, right? It's about like you see somebody like getting so excited and running down, sliding on their knees down the pitch and celebrating that goal. And the robot's like, good goal, on to the next roll. They don't care.
No, there's better voices than that now.
Is it?
You get like, I don't know, you got Adam Sandler voice.
Robots are always going to sound like that to me. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. I think that one of the interesting ones I saw that's real was like a person who made a high voltage mesh for rodents, essentially like a shock track, but like usually shock tracks for pests are meant as like a repellent, like, oh, that hurts, and then we go away, we don't stand there like birds or whatever. But this one would fry them, and so the rodents would walk across it and they would be crispy.
I don't want to mint this, but me and my buddy made one of those with a car battery and a cookie dish. we were kids, and it worked.
I think maybe the statute of limitations is over on that.
It worked.
Freely admit it. Woo.
It might have been a cat or two in it too, maybe.
Oh no! Right.
I was teasing. It worked once, and it worked one time, and it all what do you call it? I guess it all blew a fuse or something.
Probably for the best.
Yeah.
I know that there's, you know, actually, like as I learned about pest control and some of the things in there, I remember some of the first time learning about some of the technology and the different products used. They seriously sounded almost sci-fi to me. Some of the ones that we actually used. It's been around for years, but the microcapsules that they have, I always thought that was amazing. That they
still don't understand how they do that.
Encapsulate, you know, the insecticide inside a polymer capsule
at a molecular level.
At a level that, you know, you can't see it or anything like that, but then it, you know, protects it from UV rays, protects it from precipitation, and just keeps that active ingredient intact for you know, weeks and months.
Yeah, the chemistry in some of these is really astounding.
That's why we're able to spread our service out so wide, because the technology.
Yep.
You know,
yeah, you reduce the toxicity, increase the effectiveness. It's just a win-win.
Yeah. Right. What are some other things that you've think of that are almost seem like sci-fi, but they were actually using that people may not be aware
Another
of?
chemical one is the IGRs, insect growth regulators, are pretty widely used in agriculture, certainly in structural pest control, but essentially they're not pesticides in terms of killing insects, but they're pesticides in terms of altering the life cycle. So you can use things like for German roaches, for example, there are materials we use commonly that will make it so that the roaches can't, as they molt and grow from juveniles, they can't reach a reproductive stage correctly. Like it changes their ability to get to be a viable adult. And so it's a long-term strategy to reduce the populations, but it's not a pesticide in terms of something that'll kill anything,
Right.
which is really interesting.
Yeah. I think also about like what we've been using for bed bugs the last few years instead of like a chemical sort of thing, you're actually using a biological thing with the fungus and, keeping that and, that it has to, be at a certain temperature and stuff and, completely harmless to any like non-target things, but just the exact fungus that's needed out there that can kill the bed bugs when they come in contact with it.
Yeah, it makes you want to watch The Last of Us,
Right? Just
but and stuff like that. Again, like so many of the things we use in structural pest control now have been used in agriculture for decades. But the regulations for using it in and around people's homes are much more stringent than they are even our food supply, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. But the things like that are fascinating. Just using the things that already exist in the biology around us and just kind of targeting it in a very, very specific way.
yeah, I'm always amazed at the stuff they're coming out with for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, now we just need fungus with lasers. It will be perfect.
Then that's probably the worst case scenario with The Last of Us, I guess.
Yeah, right. Zombies with lasers.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not do that, actually, in retrospect. Cut that last part out.
Yeah.
Ooh, cool. Well, usually we like to do a would you rather on these episodes. I've got a good one for you guys today. Would you rather get stung once by a bullet ant or eat a traditional Southeast Asian delicacy, which is a skewer of fried tarantulas?
I think we all know the answer to that now.
You had me at delicacy. If it's something that a lot of people do on purpose, I'll take that one.
I mean, it's lunchtime right now. We're hungry, so I'd take the tarantulas all day.
Yeah.
Bullet ant.
I mean, I have been known to just eat bugs on an air. So,
but bullet ant though, I mean that's one of the most painful stings there is. Apparently, right? Is it?
Painful sting, according to the Schmidt Pain Index. Dr. Schmidt, rest in peace. Doing the Lord's work, getting stung for science. But that's my understanding is that it is by far the most painful sting ever recorded in the animal kingdom. So that sounds pretty horrible versus something that might be kind of gross. I'll take the gross.
It might be kind of tasty too.
How about
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Worst case scenario is just kind of gross.
I would eat a skewer of live tarantulas versus taking the.
Oh, see, now that's a tougher one. If it's a single bullet,
Do you got ranch? You got ketchup? I don't know. It depends.
The thing with bullet ants
Dion's
is because
ranch.
usually
okay.
you'll get
Green
several
chili
of them
ranch?
on you, and you'll get multiple stings. So it kind of really increases the pain. So if it's just the single sting from a single ant, I don't know. I bet that would still suck pretty bad.
Neither one of them sounds fun at that point, but I think I think I'd eat the tarantula. Probably. You don't want to get bit by that sucker.
I think we have a new
stung by it.
challenge. We need to find one of these spiders and eat it.
Oh,
Maybe with like a little bit of
tarantulas?
teriyaki,
Well, that's all you, man. I'll film it.
some fava beans.
We'll put it on TikTok for you.
Cool.
I like it.
How about you give us our joke of the day there, Brian?
This is a doozy. It's a funny one. Why don't flies land on computers?
Oh, why?
They don't get stuck in the web.
Oh, good Lord. That is painful. Actually, you know what? I'll take the bullet ant sting over that joke.
So okay, here's a would you rather? Would you rather hear me tell 10 dumb dad jokes, or would you rather get
What
stung
are
by
the
a bullet
top
ant?
10 insects on the Schmidt Pain Index? And I will take all of those in sequence.
All right, noted. I'll have to up my dad joke game.
That's funny.
So you're now my third favorite guest host over here.
I'm shooting for number 5.
So, kind of wrapping up and circling back to mosquitoes, you want to just remind our listeners a little bit about what they can do for mosquitoes?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just basic stuff, right? Like with all flying insects, if you have your windows open, make sure they have a good screen that seals all the way around, doesn't have any holes in it. That makes a big difference. And that you've got good seals underneath your doors and that sort of thing. That's also good for energy efficiency. The basic stuff you read anywhere. You get rid of the standing water if you can. Even stuff like the saucers from flower pots, any small thing. But with the Aedes aegypti, really, I mean, they just need muddy water and kind of flooded water. So it's, it's kind of hard. We're in a new world of mosquitoes in central New Mexico. So, but yeah, to keep them outside, shut your door, get good screens, that sort of thing.
Wear sleeves and mosquito repellent, right?
Mosquito repellent, yep.
I do.
Well, thank you so much for Mike for being on with us. We appreciate your knowledge and your imagination.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
I don't know if I appreciate it that much.
I don't think you ever have.
We like you, though.
Oh, thanks.
And thank you, listeners, for joining us, and we'll see you next time on What's Bugging You.